Welcome, and thanks for joining us. In this video, we will review the application process for the Utah State University Master of Dietetics Administration. I'm Lacey Peterson, the Program Director. I work on a team with Nikki Kendrick, Marie Givler, and Mawani Campbell, and together we run the USU MDA. We have different application timelines compared to other programs. The Priority Enrollment application opens in the fall and closes January 15th. This application is for individuals who know that the Utah State University Master of Dietetics Administration is their first choice in programs. The Priority Enrollment application is also important for those individuals who are currently living in Utah and want to apply to the in-Utah or hybrid positions. Applications received during Priority Enrollment will be notified of acceptance before February 15th. The Open Enrollment application is open from January 16th to February 15th. This timeline is for individuals who are considering the USU MDA as one of their top choices, but also want the opportunity to apply to other programs as well as participate in the D&D Digital Match. As a note, the USU MDA does not participate in the match, but applicants will be notified regarding acceptance prior to the match in April of each year. Applicants will have the opportunity to accept or deny the offer within the MDA up until 1 week after the match. Please read over the USU MDA application requirements. They are listed here and on the website. Since these are minimum requirements, any application that does not meet these requirements will not be considered. Check before applying that you have these requirements met so your application will be reviewed. The USU MDA is an Ascend accredited graduate program under the Future Education model. This means that we can offer an accelerated program, but it also means that we can admit students who have a DPD verification statement as well as those who do not. You must meet one of the following to meet the admission requirements for this program. Applicants must graduate from an accredited nutrition dietetics program with a DPD verification statement or be in the process of completing an accredited nutrition dietetics program and will receive a DPD verification statement or a foreign dietitian education program upon completion. The second option is to graduate with a minimum of a bachelor's degree or be in the process of completing a bachelor's degree and complete foundational dietetics coursework as listed on the MDA Prerequisite Courses worksheet. This document is available on our website. If you plan to apply without a DPD verification statement, you must meet with the program director prior to submitting an application. Next, I will walk you through the steps of the application process. Step 1 is to review the USU MDA website. The website is mda.usu.edu. This is an important part of the application process because our website contains comprehensive application instructions. Not all of the details of the application process are included in this video. Step 2 is to download the application checklist. This is an important document and you should use it to keep track of all of the tasks that are included within the application. It has important dates to be aware of, reminders for each step and all parts of the application. It also has useful links that will help you find everything that you need, and also a link to contact us if you have any questions. The third step is to decide where you will train. Part of the application to the USU MDA includes information on preceptors you've identified and selected. On our website, we have a preceptor facility option list. This goes over all the types of facilities and preceptors that you can use for each rotation within the USU MDA. Review that list carefully so you know what types of places to contact when you are looking for training facilities. There are additional forms that you will need to include as part of your DICUS application, and they are included on our website. These are the rotation summary form and preceptor forms. They will be submitted as part of your DICUS application, and we will discuss more information on these next. Let's talk more about these documents. Each applicant applying to the USU MDA will fill out a rotation summary form. This is where you will specify the location, facility, and preceptor for each of your rotations. This is an example for someone who's applying to the program and planning to complete rotations in Texas. The left side of the document has the applicant's name and contact information. And in the center of the document, there's a space to list out the facility and preceptor for each rotation. Note that if you're not splitting any rotations, you can leave unneeded sections of this document blank or write NA in the sections shown on the second food service space. Then there's a section to add comments about the rotation to make sure that you've made everything clear. This form is available on our website. The other required form is the Preceptor and Facility Information Form. You'll need to request a preceptor facility form for each facility or preceptor for all of your rotations. You only need forms for one primary preceptor, even if you'll be working with multiple preceptors at that site. If you use one of our state databases to help locate preceptors, there'll be a column on that document that states whether or not we already have preceptor paperwork on file. If the database says that we have the paperwork, then you do not need to request the paperwork from that preceptor. This is where you might put paperwork already on file in the comments section on the rotation summary form, so we know that you haven't forgotten it. If you need to get preceptor paperwork, you can find the link to the form under the application instructions on our website. You'll provide the link to your preceptor, and they will fill out the document, and it will be automatically sent to the USU MDA. All the instructions you need are also on the application checklist. We are moving on to the last step, which is applying to our program through DICUS. The main website for DICUS is listed here. All applicants must complete the DICUS application to be considered for the USU MDA. You will create an account and fill out the entire application online at the DICUS website. There's an application fee for the DICUS application, and this fee goes directly to the online system, not to Utah State University. The DICUS application has several sections that you'll fill out. All programs choose their requirements, therefore, some items might be in a slightly different order. The information that you'll want to have on hand includes information about your previous or current university, your DPD course list, or the MDA prerequisite worksheet if you do not have a DPD verification statement. You'll also need information on grades and your resume. You'll need information on your work and volunteer experience. DICUS will provide information on requesting and submitting transcripts. You'll need your written personal statement and information to request letters of recommendation. I want to share more information regarding inputting your dietetics-related experience. Remember that we require at least 400 hours. You can read through the work and volunteer experience list online for examples of roles, positions, and tasks that we consider to be dietetics-related. Keep in mind that this is not all-inclusive. There is no way that we can include every single experience that would count. But as you read through it, you'll see examples of what we do count. On the application, you can describe the role that you held, the responsibilities you had, and the tasks you completed in each position. You'll also list out the dates that you had the position and the hours you spent in each one. When you're filling out this section, keep in mind that more detail is better than less. We read through these to get a good idea of what you did in each position, so whatever you can tell us about your experience is helpful. If you're ever in doubt about whether or not to include something on the DICUS application, because you're not sure if it's dietetics related, the best thing to do would be include it anyway. There's no penalty for including hours that we determine not to count, so you don't lose anything for adding a position. However, experiences left off the work and volunteer section of the DICUS application will not be counted, even if it is dietetics related. So if in doubt, include it. Moving on to the personal statement. This is where you can describe more about yourself and your interest in completing the USU MDA and becoming a registered dietitian. The list of questions you need to address in the personal statement are included on the USU MDA website and in DICUS. You can write your personal statement in another program such as Microsoft Word and then copy and paste it into DICUS. This may help with formatting, checking your spelling and grammar, and reviewing it before adding it to your application. Most of all, make sure you address every question. I also want to share a few tips about writing your personal statement. Write it in an essay format that flows smoothly, showing your personal style and your interest in dietetics. Always be sure to spell check and proofread your statement. Have someone else do the same because a second set of eyes may catch something that you missed. Write your personal statement to be specific to the Utah State University MDA. Make sure that you know why you want to be part of this program and tell us in your application. In DICUS, you'll be able to upload your resume, which we'll look at when reviewing your application. There's also a section for references. The USU MDA requires 3 letters of recommendation. One should be a professional reference, such as a work supervisor or manager, or a supervisor from a volunteer experience. One should be an academic reference, such as a professor or advisor, and the third reference can be either type. In this section of DICUS, you will enter the email address of the person who has agreed to be your reference. DICUS will email them a link to the form, and when they complete the reference, it will be attached to your application. Here are some tips on selecting and talking to your references. Select someone whom you know can speak about your work and/or your character. Someone who has seen what you can do and knows a little bit about you as a person. When you ask them to be a reference, ask them if they can write a favorable recommendation for you. Be sure to give them adequate time to fill out the form and let them know when it needs to be submitted. Describe to them how it works, that they'll receive an email and fill out a form in DICUS. Give them a couple of weeks to complete this and remind them when the deadline is for the application, especially if it's only a few weeks away. Once you complete all the sections within DICUS and everything is ready, you'll hit submit. Make sure that all the information on your application is correct and that you've attached the correct personal statement, resume, and references. Once you hit that submit button in DICUS, your application will be locked and you'll not be able to make any changes or add any other information. So look through everything carefully to make sure that you are ready. Here's a quick overview of the application process for the USU MDA. Once you submit your application in DICUS and the application due date has passed, we will review your application. Our process does include a phone interview. We will send out invitations to interview approximately 1 week after applications are due. If you're selected for a phone interview, you'll receive an email with instructions on signing up for a time. All offers for the USU MDA will be extended in early April. There's a lot of other useful information on our website, so we encourage you to look at all of the different sections. Here are some important topics. Once you're offered a position within the MDA and accept, you'll also be required to apply to the Utah State University Graduate School so they can admit you as a graduate student and provide you with a student ID number. We often get questions about assessed prior learning or APL credit. The USU MDA does allow students to apply for APL credit, however, that option is only available after program acceptance. The USU MDA is eligible for federal financial aid. Since we are associated with the university and you're completing a master's degree, students who are accepted in the program can apply for a FAFSA loan to help cover program expenses. Finally, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Foundation also offers student scholarships each year. Applications are usually due in March, and we highly recommend applying for those awards. If you've looked through the website and can't find the answers to your questions, you can send us an email and you'll get a quick response. If you'd prefer to talk to someone directly, you can call us and ask for Lacey Peterson, the MDA Program Director. Now that we've gone through each step of applying to the Utah State University Master of Dietetics Administration, you're ready to apply to our program, and we look forward to seeing your application.